everybody, welcome to Steel Forge and Fire Sword Knife. This is Joe. It is fantastic to see you guys all here today. New year, new responsibilities, new things going on in the channel, new knives to look at and review. A lot of exciting things coming up. I'm stoked to be here, and I'm stoked to have you all here with me here today. Hope you like my new shooting area. It's my computer room / bed room. Trying out some new different types of scenery. But I'm pretty comfortable here, lounging out of my little chair here, talking to all you fine folk. When you think of Spartan, or you think of Spartan blades, you think of Sparta. And when you think of Sparta, let's take you back to the year 480. You have 300 Spartans joined by a small force of Greeks to defend a mountain pass of Thermopylae against the invading Persians. I butchered that name. If the 300 Spartans had stayed home, and if the Persians had won the Greco-Persian wars, the Western concept of freedom most likely would not exist. I mean, that is huge. So when you think of 300, you think of Sparta, okay? And you think of Spartans, you think of strength, you think of reliability, you think of bravery, okay? This is the embodiment of these Spartan knives, okay? They are made with materials that are so high quality. The craftsmanship is extremely high quality. They're meant to be knives that are going to basically resist the elements, work for you, be an everyday carry for the professional, okay? And for the, for the enthusiast who just wants a very well-built knife that's not going to fail on them and they can carry with pride. And this particular knife actually is, they actually sell it as a knife that can be passed on as an heirloom within your family, and they are really built that well. So then comes the Pallas, the Spartan Pallas, okay, button lock from Spartan knives, Spartan blades. This is a second get-go on this knife. This knife was already reviewed by Scab from Choirboyz Cutlery. This came from the Rusty knife lover. Rusty, we love you, man. Thanks for sending us all these knives to definitely look at and review and all that. So this came to me after a Scab, so he did an amazing review on it. He really put it through its paces. He did really like the knife, and hint, hint, I really do like the knife too. I did some testing, not as much as Scab did, because he really did a lot to it. So I'm going to let you know that I'm going to be putting a link to Scab's video of his review on this, because if you are interested in this knife or in Spartan blades, you definitely want to be able to look at a couple different videos to make a decision. So I'm going to leave a link to Scab's, and you can take a look at his review on it, his outtake on it, and the paces he put it through. The first thing I got to tell you guys about this knife, it is absolutely badass. Okay, it is definitely a badass knife. From the moment that you hold this thing in your hand, and even before you basically open it, you hold it in your hand, it's got some weight to it. It definitely does. It's got a really beautiful aluminum frame, extremely solid. Okay, the open and close action on this, it's a push button lock. You can use a push button to release. And then basically it falls into place really smoothly. You have the flipper tab right over here, flips open very easily, and you also have the dual thumb stubs. Okay, there's a million ways to open this, and I absolutely am a big fan of the flipper tab. I've been using a lot more flipper tab knives, and I really do like them. They're very convenient. I love the one-hand operation on this is fantastic. Okay, it locks into place, really solid. Almost cut myself there. Really solid lock. Okay, even after all of the cutting that Scab did with it, the testing that I did with it, that I'm going to show you on this video, it really stood up to everything that we threw at it. I mean, we're not abusing knives here, guys. We're demonstrating them. We're demonstrating what they should be able to do and how they hold up after these tests. So you know that if you have this knife in your hand, how reliable is this going to be to you? Okay, aesthetics. Okay, the aesthetics of this knife are absolutely gorgeous. Look at that blade. Okay, it's a drop point blade, but look at basically the shape of that blade. Look at the thickness of the spine, if you're able to see it. Okay, without my face focusing here. Look at the thickness of that spine. Look at the reinforced tip. Look at the locking mechanism. It's a very well balanced, beautiful, beautiful knife. Okay, I love that aluminum frame. So solid in the hand. 5-inch handle. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, this particular knife, I mean, it can't be more badass than to be actually called Pallas, which actually is known is the Greek phrase for the Titan god of war. I mean, how badass can it get? It's a Spartan knife, and it's called after the Titan god of war. I mean, it can't get more badass than that. And with all its and basically it deserves it because this knife is really that good. I have never held a Spartan blade in my hand. I am very impressed in the paces I put it through. Very impressed to even see what Scab did before I even had it in my hands. And it just got me excited to be able to get it in my hands and experience it for myself. But really wonderful materials on this knife. And the architecture, the geometry of the blade is just absolutely fantastic. So let me actually get into some details of the knife. The designer is Curtis Iovito. Blade length on this S35VN, okay, which is the first time I ever actually saw an S45VN, and I love it. I mean, it's a really amazing blade. Is 3 3/4. The overall length is 8 3/4, which means the actual handle is very generous and very appreciated 5-inch handle, which I absolutely love. Blade thickness is 0.153. The blade steel, like I said, is a CPM S35VN, absolutely fantastic. The blade hardness has an HRC of 59 to 61. It's a drop point blade. It's a stone washed finish on the blade. It has a aluminum frame. It's a 6061 specifically aluminum frame. The actual clip material is titanium. It's a 68L4B titanium clip. The weight on the knife is 4.736 ounces. So once again, guys, this is a tip-up carry. You can be very confident basically with the titanium clip that's on this knife to be able to carry a tip up. It's got really good balance. Everything is basically the way it should be. The balance of the blade is perfectly centered. The architecture and geometry and craftsmanship of this blade is absolutely fantastic. I love the open and close of this. I mean, it's such a fluid, powerful locking system. The open and close is wonderful. Okay, if you're a dumb stud guy, which a lot of people are, okay, it's actually a very fluid thumb stud opening as well. Okay, if you want to use the button to open and just flick your wrist, you can do it a million ways as well. What I noticed basically when I first held it in my hand, I thought maybe it wouldn't be as grippy because it's like got a little sliding material. But I got to tell you, these are like indentations in the aluminum handle. Once you get your hand kind of wrapped completely around it, your hand kind of just locks into place. It doesn't move. No hot spots. Very smooth but grippy. I mean, I think it's a very wonderful design that they did on this handle. Okay, to give it a really nice, generous 5 inches of real estate there to hold your hand. You can kind of choke it up right over here. If you want to do some more fine detailed work, there's that space to do that there. Very comfortable on the thumb there. No hot spots whatsoever anywhere on this knife. And I'll show you as I'm doing some cutting with it that it was stayed very comfortable in my hand as well throughout the entire thing.
All right, so here we are at the lob stump, which is actually going to have to take a little vacay because we have a big snowstorm we're being hit with tonight into tomorrow, so there may be a lot of snow on the floor, and I may have to take a little break from the stump for a little while, but I'll use it while I can. So I'm just showing you the carry. It's not a very low pocket carry because it is you exchange the low pocket carry because the size of the handle, it's a 5-inch handle, so naturally it's going to stick out a little bit. The clip was a little stiff, but for the most part it went in and out. It wasn't as snug or as comfortable going in and out as other folders I've had in my hand, but for the performance and the solid feel of this knife, you can kind of deal with that. So I'm just cutting some boxes here just to try and test out the edge to see how much the edge can take. Obviously, you know, with cutting a lot of cardboard can diminish the edge, so I wanted to try and test that out first, just to see how much it can take before I go to harder materials. Doing the stab test here. This is basically just to test the tip, to test how strong the tip is, to do some downward, hard downward throws into cardboard and into the back stump on the other end. So it was going through. It's just that I didn't have the box tied up, but it was kind of going all the way through into the stump. Now I have some really hard Home Depot pressurized wood, and you can see it's just kind of really stinging through it. It's feather sticking as it's going, and this is, you know, a piece of really hard wood in the cold right now because it's really cold in New York. And most importantly, throughout the all these tests, I was also trying to see how comfortable the handle was in my hands, and it was comfortable throughout the whole time. Like I said, no hot spots, completely smooth, and I felt stable in my hand. You see a nice chunk of feather sticking there off the wood. It did a really nice job, and I'm so impressed at the edge retention of this S45 steel after my test, scab tests, and also rusty. So I did a little light batoning here. This is again to test out the locking mechanism of the knife. Wasn't hitting it too hard. It's not a fixed blade, but it went through with no problem at all. Again, with the same edge from the factory, and it did a really nice job. No movement in the blade, no wiggle, no rattle, no nothing like that. No edge rolling, no chipping. Did some more cutting over here as well. Did a really nice job. I was very comfortable holding this in the hand. The 5-inch handle is really a big plus on this knife, and the fact that it's a 5-inch handle. It's the egos are excellent, which Spartan prides themselves on the ego of their knives. That's how they advertise them. And they're ambidextrous. I mean, righty or lefties. I mean, they're friendly to both. And again, just really, really comfortable. Now I have some piece of bamboo here. It's a very hard piece of bamboo now. It's completely dry now. And again, it's in the cold, so it's pretty stiff. I was kind of trying to cut through the groove there, and if you know bamboo, it's very hard to cut through that, but there was no damage on the blade, no chipping from that. And kind of just sliced through it pretty well. I mean, as you would imagine it should. But again, we're just demonstrating the knife. We're demonstrating how powerful the edge is and how the edge retention is, and trying to get you through a couple different materials that I have at hand just to show you the slicing capabilities of this knife with basically the original edge. This is the Donnie B All Day drop test, 4-foot drops test, and throw it at the stump test. And if you're not subscribed to Donnie B All Day, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Go subscribe to Donnie B All Day. He's trying to march to 10,000. Let's help him get there. Fantastic knife reviewer. But a couple more drops there. You can see how balanced the knife is. A couple really hard downward throws, and this was a lot of fun. I must have did this about 10 times. I don't know if I did 10 times on camera or 10 times off camera, but this was a lot of fun, and you know, I could play with this knife actually all day. So a couple more throws here. I'll let you look at that. Really nice bite. You can see the bite that it's taking into the wood there. And took some water hose. Again, a very stiff, cold water hose, and it kind of went through with no problem. I skinned it as well. I tried to do as many cuts as possible before I really had to get in because of the cold. And it really did a great job really getting through all the tests. I didn't feel like the knife was going to fail. I didn't feel like it was going to slip out of my hand from the grip. I never felt like it was the blade was slipping or the blade was going to fail. It did a great job. And a couple more just test cuts just to see how sharp the blade is after the testing. And it went through the bottom with no problem. A couple nice slices there. It's still very sharp. And now I did some just simple paper cuts at the end just to show you that it does have some great, great edge retention. Solid knife, guys. Solid EDC. A solid EDC for the money that you can definitely rely on and do whatever you need to do with it. Fantastic knife. Good job. Good looking and a really solid knife. And it's a Spartan, guys. It's Spartan blades.
The Spartan blade Pallas Button-Lock is valued at around $285 from the Spartan website. It's actually pretty accurate across all of the major box knife stores. It's valued around $285. It's currently out of stock at Spartan Blades, and it's really out of stock in a lot of the box stores, but they have messages on their website saying that they are currently out of stock, but they're making more. So is it worth it? Is the knife worth it? It's about $285. I honestly say yes. If you're really looking for a really well-built knife, solid in the hand, very reliable, and just holds a certain prestige to it, this is definitely the knife for you. I think it's definitely worth $285. You can spend a lot more on a foldable and get good quality, but you know, why go any further than that if you can get something with a beautiful Spartan folder for about, you know, sub $300? I definitely think it's worth it. I mean, listen, it's got S35VN steel, you know, solid aluminum frame, really good motion, and I gotta tell you, the sharpness level of this is still pretty damn good. Now, when it came to me from Scab, and Scab really did a lot of testing with it, a lot of demonstrating, a lot of cutting with it, cut all types of things with it, and it came to me, and I felt like it could have been a little bit sharper. So what I did was, I went in, I put it on some really, really fine belts, like 6,000, 12,000 fine belts, just to kind of hone the edge a little bit, and that's really all it needed. And it cut away, you know, at my heart's content, no problem, as you saw in the video. It serves Scab well, but also understand it's third hands now, because also Rusty's been using this for years. So the S45VN steel has really retained its edge extremely well. Obviously, as you use the knife, guys, you're going to have to hone it up, sharpen it, strop it, keep it up to date. But I'm very impressed with basically how well this blade performed, even after two, you know, major testing zones, and also in the hands of Rusty, which has been using it, like I said, for a while. So you have some really good quality steel in this S45VN. Very, very impressed. Quality knife. I definitely think it's worth it. I would definitely endorse it, recommend it. I would recommend Spartan blades in general as just having some really amazing fixed blades, amazing pieces, as you can see on their website. Really gorgeous, aesthetically gorgeous pieces, and built extremely well, ready to work. They're tough, and they're noteworthy as having that Spartan name, okay? Sparta, guys, 300, all right? How can it be more badass than that, okay? Greek god of war, man. So, yes, I do love this knife. Definitely recommend it. It's got my endorsement. Definitely see if you can try to go on a waiting line, see if you can find it in stock, and try to get your hands on it if you're interested. And definitely check out Scab's video, which I'll leave a link in the comment section. So, until the next knife, next sword, guys, which hopefully will be coming soon, thank you for joining me. Love you all. To all my subscribers, thank you for being there. If you're a passerby, please be so kind to like and subscribe to my channel. I have some great content coming your way. And again, guys, Spartan blades, the Pallas, okay? Wonderful, wonderful folder. $285, definitely worth every penny. Absolutely solid knife, wonderful, okay? Till next time, guys, love you all, and peace out, and ciao to all of you. The Data.